Okay, welcome all. Friday, 29th of May, 2026. So give a few minutes for people to roll in. I'm going to check my social media as well, just to check that everything is working and that the stream is happening. How's everybody's week been? It's been a great week for me. Let me just check something here. Hold on a second. Okay, that is live. Let me just check it's live here as well. It's been a busy day actually today. Done so much. I've been trying to rescue an apple tree that's got aphids. I think it's aphids, and but I'm trying to do it the non-chemical way. So I'm trying to spray all the leaves and get all the aphids off with a hose pipe, which I know it sounds absolutely crazy. Right. Okay. So let me lock that one in. Pin to profile. Okay. That's it. People are rolling in, so that is good. So that's live. And let me just check the sound is coming through. Let me lock that one in. Pin to profile. Yep, sound's coming through. Okay, let me just move my mic over. There we go. That should be all right. Not too near, not too far. I think that should be okay. Yeah, sounds coming through. Okay, let me just move my mic over. Just want to test the sound on this. That should be all right. Not too near, not too far. I think that should be okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, it's been a really hectic week. Another week of like learning new stuff in the QUBIC ecosystem, and also for QMINE, which I've been doing a lot of investigations, and I actually learned something new today. Actually, well, I'm learning quite a lot of new things about it, and important actually. And this is for all of us. You know, I'm in the Discord of QMINE. And actually, to be fair, they're a very friendly bunch. I'm really quite calm because I'm asking like loads and loads of stupid questions, like relentless. But now this is something that you've got to remember. You know, the stupid questions from a stupid person might actually be somebody with a big bag of money. I mean, I haven't obviously, but there might be somebody that's asking a lot of these simple questions that's got a whole lot of readies to put into the project. So I think asking, I mean, obviously I'm going to put more in, but, you know, answering those simple questions that you guys will already know either within the QUBIC or any other Discord. It's important to just stay calm. And sometimes these questions might be stupid, like what's the supply, or who's the founder, or, you know, any of these questions, you know, what's the tokenomics? Why is there so many tokens? All this sort of stuff that some people that have been in the system for like maybe years, like us, you might see that as like, oh, is this guy playing around? But actually, it's probably just somebody that's completely brand new to the ecosystem. So, like I have been within QUBIC, QMINE. So, thanks all for coming. It's been a really, like I said, it's been a really good week. In fact, it was a good week, and I did make a mention of it yesterday. I've kind of made peace now with two people. Not that there wasn't really any real life argument, but you know, it's just like sometimes it's like you kind of sometimes got to see that actually people are trying their best, you know. So I gotta give a little bit of credit because, you know, although there are sometimes criticisms, you know, the QUBIC marketing team do keep trying to pilot out, trying to improve, trying to push it forward. And actually that AMA yesterday, I was actually quite impressed with that because I just felt that it was quite targeted to even newcomers to the audience. And I was listening to, especially when you're listening to people like Joe Tom, and you know, you can see that he's like one of the lead devs, and you can see that actually, you know, if people pay attention to what he's saying and keep an eye to what's actually going on within the QUBIC ecosystem as well. You can kind of tie it together, and I thought that was it was a pretty good AMA actually. So Godspeed, let's carry on. You know, and I suppose this is just a call out to the whole community. We've got to really push forward now, because you know, QUBIC is a great project. We know they're edging forward. You know, the CFB and his dev team are edging forward towards AGI. We know that. We can see it. We can see what the scientists are doing, and we can see what they're saying. And maybe what they are saying is kind of, in some ways, limited to what they can actually say. Yeah, you know, maybe there's a lot of testing that's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. So I suppose we've got to just kind of bear with. And, you know, QUBIC at 6047 is the equivalent of maybe, I don't know, Bitcoin at $1. You know, look at it now. What is it, like 70 odd thousand? So, you know, we've got to kind of zoom out sometimes and just think long term, and how we can, you know, push forward and try and join together in as many ways as we can. I mean, obviously, I'm big on joining together with any kind of marketing that's happening. Like obviously today I'm doing a stream that is marketing, you know, and I'm very, very keen that we kind of unite on those fronts and try and get the word out to as many people as possible. Because I tell you now, I can do a stream every single week and there would be something brand new in it. There's so many projects now. There's so many builds. There's so much activity potential, and also things for newbies to understand within QUBIC. It's pretty crazy. I got a lot of slides today. Now people are piling in, so I'm really appreciative of that. Thanks for coming, guys. Hope you can stay for the whole stream, and also, you know, share. Hold on, let's go for this. So we've got, hold on. Sorry, somebody's again. Right. So yeah, I just to kind of, I did this because I thought that it was going to be like slow people coming in, but anyway, people are piling in. So we'll probably talk about this when I'm waiting on one of the further streams. But you know what? I've got a lot of people hitting me up saying, yeah, tell me more about the pizzas. So, you know, it's not just crypto that people are interested. We're real people doing real things, but this one's going to have to wait. But anyway, I've got the recipe. If you want to do a screenshot now, I've got the recipe and instructions. But I'll do a bit more when times are a bit slow. But we've got so many people coming in now. I'm not going to talk about my pizza recipe. Next slide. So yeah, there was something that I was going to put out there, because these streams are going to go wide and far. I want to do this for, you know, in a more professional way. And if anybody does want to become a sponsor, I can happily think about sponsor. Obviously, it depends on what thing you want to sponsor. Ideally, something within the QUBIC ecosystem, and maybe we can do a little chit chat about it and give people a bit of an introduction as well. So that is something. And also, there's my wallet there. So you just click on that. Hopefully that works. In fact, I'm just going to test it now. I'm going to test it now with my phone to see if that works. Let's have a look, see if that works. My screen is really small, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's fine. Next slide. Okay, so this is just a general note to us all, really, including myself, including anybody that's in the QUBIC ecosystem. If you're a QUBIC, QMINE, MLM investor, or any project within the QUBIC ecosystem, please share the stream. And I think that goes with any good streaming that's out there. Just share it, especially while it's live. We want to reach as many audience as we can possibly do. And QUBIC is already probably one of the biggest communities in crypto. And it does surprise me sometimes when I look at the market cap and I'm like, how are we not at 1 billion? We should be at 1 billion at least at this present time. Obviously in the future it's going to be way more than that. But yeah, this is a huge community, and there are so many new investors out there looking for good projects with buoyant communities like ours. Another important thing is none of what I say, even though I believe it myself, none of what I say should be taken as financial advice. But, and this is quite important because obviously most of you guys are in crypto and you know what else is happening. I just want to say that, you know, it's not a coincidence, and I'm not being cocky here, but it's not a coincidence that projects that I research hard seem to keep doing well. So the latest one, as you might have known, if you're looking on Crypto X or X generally, you'll see that XLM is starting to blow. But I knew that was going to happen 2 years ago. I was telling people, get into XLM, telling family, friends, and all the rest of it, get into it. Whether you like it or not, you know, we're here to make money. And I would just say that, you know, with regards to QUBIC, it's going to be a whole different story. You know, we're not going to be just going up like piddly amounts. You know, we are going to be really flying. I mean, even if XLM gets to like, you know, $1 or something like that, still I'm actually personally not gonna sell, because at some point there's going to be ways that I'm going to be able to stake and make off the stake. Did that rhyme? That was good. Oh, I'm going to go back one. It's absolutely lovely outside. I'm going to really enjoy myself in the garden after this, because it's absolutely boiling. It's actually quite hot in here. If you can see my face sweating, that's probably why. Just to let you know, I've got, you can see on the left-hand side, you can see QMINE Discord. Now, as I say, really nice group. It's actually quite entertaining in there as well. You know, you can kind of ask questions and stuff like that. There's a lot of information, and there's a lot of real-time information as well. I'm pretty sure you'll be welcomed. I certainly will, and I'm pretty sure all the other guys in there will. And I mean, even with my, you know, my little dispute with the founder a while back, they kind of, nearly all of them have welcomed me in, which is crazy, which is really, you know, it just shows that, hold on, we're moving forward as a community now. You know, these stupid arguments, let's just get over them and bind together. But yeah, click on that left one. Obviously the one on the right is my wallet. Yeah, feel free to donate. Happily received, and I'll turn any QUBIC that I get into QMINE or one of the other good projects that I like. But anyway, look, on the one on the left hand side, in all seriousness, that's the QMINE Discord. Get your phones out, try and open that one up, and yeah, I think you'll be really impressed. Actually, it's quite a nicely run Discord. It's well modded, informative, and I think it's quite buoyant as well, and it's quite nice. You know, when we kind of look at the QUBIC price at the moment and think, oh god, you know, I wish it was higher. You look behind the scenes. It's almost like looking behind the curtains and seeing some of the work that's going on behind the scenes. These people are not really bothered. You know, they know that the QUBIC price is going to start developing over time anyway, but they're not really bothered on the short term. They're just like beavering away, trying to get things going. QMINE in particular is looking at mainly mining activity, but we're going to go into that in a short while. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm quite buoyant by it. It's my new word, buoyant. Right, so we are now going to look at today's stream. So obviously, introduction is going to be about just reminding everybody, share, like, comment loads, widen reach. That's what it's all about. There will be, you know, when I'm hopefully going to be doing loads more of these streams. And one thing that I am aware when I look at a stream, like for example, I would love to do some X spaces as well. X spaces are pretty powerful. Obviously, that's just talking most of the time on the X spaces, but they're quite good if they're well organized. But if there's only, say for example, a community like QUBIC, like say, you know, there's like probably, I don't know, 60,000 wallets or something like that. There's maybe 30,000, 40,000 people, whatever, I don't know. But there's thousands of us. Now, say for example, if you did an X Spaces, it's a bit like this. Now, this is pretty good, this stream, because, you know, several hundred people watching. I've only just started, great. But on an X Spaces stream, we need to make sure, if we do those X Spaces, we need to make sure that we've got hundreds there, because when they show up in the streams, if you see one and it's got like 20 people in, it just makes the whole project look like it's got no interest. So note to everybody, really, you know, when you're streaming or when you're watching, that's why I'm so keen on sharing, you know, and obviously if there's other streamers out, they want me to share their stuff, I'll share it, no problem, or even link in or what have you, because I've got about, what, 3,000 followers. But if you link in with big follower groups, the reach is so wide, the marketing is so good. Anyway, so what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be, obviously, we're here for QUBIC, but we're also talking about projects within QUBIC as well. So we're talking about QUBIC, giving people an overview, because there are going to be newbies in here. But I'll tell you now, even with QUBIC, I'm learning stuff about QUBIC every day, but I'm always looking at it from an investor perspective. You know, I'm here to make money, but I'm also enjoying what they're developing as the technology. So yeah, so we'll look at QUBIC, then we'll look at My Last Match, and specifically how My Last Match, the success of it, which I think it will be successful because there's already several hundred people that have bought items, i.e. potential players, including myself. So we're going to look specifically at My Last Match, give you a bit of an introduction to that, and then also look at how My Last Match success will grow your QMINE investment, because QMINE have got a significant amount of shares and other items in that gaming project. Now, some people might hear this and go, "Oh, gaming, yeah, but gaming's dead." I think what they don't understand is, when I was doing a bit of research, obviously before this stream, and it looks now like this My Last Match project, which is a QUBIC crypto project, is now going to be also venturing out into the wider world. So it's going to be an in real life project and crypto project, and it's going to be playable from out, and it looks like they're going to be launching on Epic Games. Now, I don't know if anybody knows anything about Epic Games. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I'm telling you, there are millions of users, and I'm talking about maybe, I don't know what the stats are. I've got it later on in the stream on one of these slides, but I think it's about like 500 million users. I mean, think about it. There's only going to be 55,000 spaces for My Last Match. So we're going to look at that. We're going to delve in a little bit. And yeah, I've got some workings out. I've got a spreadsheet that's going to bamboozle you, to be honest with you. I'm hoping to cut some of the weeds through it. But I've got like links, and I've got all sorts of calculations and stuff like that, which is what I've done for all projects, including, you know, the one that's starting to rise 20-30% at the moment, XLM. Done it for that as well, you know, and I delve deep in the projects, and this is what I do. So let's hit it. Now, can I get my picture? No, actually, I'll leave the screen like this at the moment, because otherwise my head's in the way. All right, no, actually, let me just try it. Let me do this. Okay. Right, we've got some comments, guys. I'm really pleased for your comments, so please keep them coming, or questions or whatever. I've got some Russian guy saying he's my secret admirer. I've got a feeling that Russian guy is a guy called Shelby. Is that you, Shelby? Me and him are new bros. You know, especially after the time I revealed what he wore while he was sitting at the computer. You know, he's got a big Havana cigar with a string vest on. Yeah, I know you, Shelby. But thanks for coming, guys. Webb, hello, Revo. RM tutoring services. This stream's getting better and better. Thanks. Well, I've only just started, so hopefully it lives up to that expectation. Excited to hear what QMINE is and why I should get involved. Just scan the QR code to their Discord. Did they just burn over 6? Yeah, you're quick. Because to be honest, the stuff that I'm learning about QMINE all the time, but it seems as if they are burning tokens. So there is a 900, I think there's 900 million supply, but they are also burning supply, which, you know, as a holder in any token, you'd love to hear that, don't you? Because it means that what you're holding is becoming more expensive. Excited to have you back. You should consider a collab stream with Vibra Finance. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It was good sport. True. Do you guys think QUBIC has a chance against Anthropic? The AI bubble might soon pop. Yeah, they're already talking about it popping. LLM is popping. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I don't think people realize the difference between LLM and AGI. I think AGI is just going to, once we've got AGI on QUBIC, it will just, and I've got some figures actually, it will just transform everything. And I've kept saying this, the only thing that we're going to be worried about in QUBIC, it certainly won't be price. It will be, are our cryptos secure? You know, at the moment, you know, they might be worth a few grand. But I'll tell you now, once an AGI platform is on QUBIC, it will change everything. I mean, your few grand will be worth quite many millions of dollars, probably. Anyway, right. So let's just go through it. Just for any newbies that are here, we all know what QUBIC is. We all know what QUBIC does. That's why we're here. That's why we're interested. That's why we're supporting the project. And that's why we're, you know, well, I don't know about you guys, but I want to try and grab as many tokens as I can. And there's no hiding away from that. Everybody knows my intentions. So what is QUBIC? So QUBIC is a layer 0 blockchain. Okay. Now layer 0 is like, everybody's heard about layer 1s. Layer 1s are like Ethereum, Solana, what's that other one that people keep shilling? I can't remember. But anyway, layer 1s where people can build on, and the smart contracts and all the rest of it. The difference is here is this is like next level technology, where there is no actual operating system. And I think it's the only one without an operating system, which means it is a lot more secure. So it can't go down, basically. It's the fastest in all of crypto. So it's 15 million transfers per second. Okay, there's nothing near it, nothing vaguely near it. And you know, every time I read these kind of things out, I'm like, how are we like 70, 80 million, whatever it is, market cap? It's crazy, isn't it? But this is the time to top up. Also, it's feeless. So QUBIC to QUBIC transfers are feeless, no fee attached, which is, it has massive implications for when, you know, when micro payments are needed, when the AI bots come in, the agentic AIs and all the rest of it. You know, they're going to need that. They can swap tokens everywhere. Obviously, this is for the future when things start building on the QUBIC network. Oracles, you know, all these things that are happening are part of making a platform that is the best out there for the whole of crypto. So anybody that wants to build on it further down the line, which they will, because obviously it will have all these things to build their AGI, not AI, AGI smart contracts on here. Those AGIs will need oracles. They will need to be feelers, and it will need to be fast. Okay, so all these things are all part of getting it right. And you know, listening to that AMA just yesterday, which as I've said already, which was pretty damn good. And you know, I have been known in the past to be a pretty strong critic, but I just thought it was bullish because, you know, Joe Tom was like really getting to the point. He was delivering the message, and he said one sentence that just made the hairs on the back of my neck stick up. And that was, it was something like, what we are doing here is prepare. It was something like preparing a platform for the AGI. So we've not completely built it yet. Obviously it's been built, we know that, but what he's saying is there's some finer things that they need to do to make it just right. And then when Agarth joins up with you know, the AGI system, then everything's gonna be set and ready. So we've got smart contracts, so you can build incredible projects on it now. Then we've got number 6, we've got Agarth. So Agarth, now this is the thing that I keep telling people, yeah, it's been learning. So as miners are mining, it's been they are basically training AI since 2022. What year are we in now? 2000. I had to look at my calendar then. 2026. Okay, so it's been training it for 4 years. Okay, think about that. 24/7 with a lot of compute power, with a lot of miners training it, okay, 24/7. You're talking a lot. You know, when you consider the compute power of QUBIC is the equivalent of one of the top 10 supercomputers in the world, you can see how much it's trained. I think they're there anyway. I think they're there. They're saying AGI to 2027. But I think when that was announced, which was probably about a year ago, I think they already knew that it was really near, i.e. they needed to test it behind the scenes. That's my conspiracy theory. So that's not fact. Nobody's passed me any secret information or anything like that. But that's why I think a lot of people are pretty excited still. And yeah, I've just answered that question. So I've just had a question, say it from Airdrop Legend. Revo, are you bullish on QUBIC? The price is bleeding. Yeah, but people were saying the price was bleeding for Bitcoin, you know, when it was like around the dollar range. And look at it now, you know. But I mean, obviously the difference is with Bitcoin, it doesn't do anything. This is a completely different story. But, you know, the price 6047 or whatever it is now, 70, you know, once an AGI platform is on here and other things are built and stuff like that, you know, that price is going to be just in the wind. So you don't need to worry about that necessarily. The only thing that you can do if you've got a bag is just do what I'm doing and just DCA. If you still believe in the project, if you don't believe in the project, just leave and go and buy Bitcoin. You know, I don't think anybody's going to be particularly worried if you do that. That's your choice. And who knows with crypto, you know, like I say, none of this is financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. But what I'm doing is I'm looking at my amount and I'm wherever I can. And God, I hate the summer because the summer just takes up so much of my funds, my available funds, which is a pain in the ass because I really, really want to be putting it into QUBIC. So that's just my thing. I just DCA. Yes, okay, I want the price and I expect the price to be a lot higher. But while it is low, and if you do anticipate that it is going to get a lot higher, you are getting it for so cheap. Somebody hit me up yesterday on X asking for the cheapest way to get to QUBIC because of the price, because they understand, and I've known that person for such a long time. They understand. They buy cheap. You know, I put a post on X the other day, and it was like a supermarket, and it had like everything reduced 50%. You know, and like if you can just like imagine QUBIC as a supermarket, would you buy it when it's reduced, or do you want to wait for the price to like triple up because of the war? You know, so obviously you want to buy your foodstuffs reduced. It's just crypto. You want to buy your crypto reduced as well. It's hard because psychologically you're thinking, oh no, is it going to keep on dropping? Is it a waste of time? And then suddenly, you know, it starts to shoot up, and it's just like, you know, with QUBIC, you know, we all know that it's got that technology. This is not a lie. This is all fact. You know, this technology is a fact, but it's just how people's emotions kind of lead them, you know, when it comes to investing. But 100% sure that, you know, crypto as a, you know, I suppose a utility commodity, whatever you want to call it, is going to happen. It is happening now. You can see with XLM, DTCC are taking it on. They're also taking on XRP and all the rest of it, all the big financial stuff, whether you like it or not. That's all going on the rails. Everything else is just going to follow. You know, and crypto will be used more and more and more. So compute power, that's massive. Doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's worth a lot of money. I think the guy from BlackRock, who you might like or not, but anyway, he's influential, and he mentioned that that's going to be a big problem in the future. And I think also, I've heard loads of places as well that they're going to struggle. I think Elon Musk even posted something that compute power was needed. They're going to not have enough, etc., etc. But QUBIC is going to be fine. Think about that. We're going to be fine. So, and then the final one is that this platform, QUBIC platform, is designed. The QUBIC AGI platform is designed for agentic AIs to build and grow. So, you know, it's not rocket science really, but it is just trying to deal with our emotions. So what's this one? Ali said, next year, April is our bull run with QUBIC. Price before then is cheap. Take this opportunity. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just literally, what's the word? I'm trying to just buy whenever I can, to be fair, because I just think that while it's cheap, and I'm looking at the price, 6047, it could jump any time, which it has done in the past. So, or it's not going to actually tell. I was going to work out a calculator actually to see how much QUBIC is how much of a buy is neat. I might do that on another stream. How much of a buy is going to change the market cap. So, for example, if somebody buys, $1 million worth of QUBIC, which is very possible, because I mean, if I was listening to this stream today and I digested it, went off and did my own research, and I had a few million of investments, I probably would consider putting some big funds in. Because imagine if you put $1 million in, you're literally going to be a billionaire. I mean, that would be absolutely crazy. So what's QUBIC actually worth? Even when we look at it now in this state, okay, or maybe even zoom in forward a little bit for some of these items. But I go down the list, and this is another way that I do my research. When I look at a company, it's a bit like even looking at a company that's like stocks. You need to start selling those pizzas, Revo. Get some extra pack. Yeah, you're right. I must do it. They're really good. Anyway, so I went down the list, and this is what I do for every crypto that I'm in. Yeah, I go down and I just like identify, is it worth it? Number one, is it worth anything? It's like a meme coin, for example. Is it worth anything? No. Am I going to invest in it? No. I just stay well away. I'm not interested in narrative at all. Okay. This is just about actual value, where something is doing something, or it offers a particular service of doing something for the crypto space or for future builders, etc. So this is when I look at any crypto, I go through it. Is it worth anything? Chainlink, blah, 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 blah. I go through the list. Is it worth anything? Yes, it is. XRP, is it worth anything? Yes, it is. XLM, is it worth anything? And then I do the same thing with QUBIC. Apart from QUBIC, we're not kind of out there in the wider world, even though we've got a massive community. It's almost like, there's other kind of AI projects that people are focusing on, which I just think, and then I look at their technology and I think, but how is their technology not as good as QUBIC's? And then their price is this. Maybe it's because of user base, maybe it's because of institutions are the ones promoting it, or et cetera, et cetera. But I ignore all that bullshit. I ignore all of it. All I'm concentrating is what I believe, because if I've done my research and I believe it, then stuff usually happens. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but you just, you go on X and you see all kinds of bullshit. You just got to put that aside and just think for yourself. Yeah, and that's what I do. By the way, we are crawling up with listeners. Thanks very much, guys. We've got over 500 in here today, which is brilliant. And we could get way more. Link up bigger accounts, we can get way more. Right. So I go through each of these, which I see are the bigger things. Right. Okay. So these are my personal estimates. They're not financial advice. So do your own research after you've watched this stream. Don't go and buy QUBIC on the back or QMINE, because I'm going to be talking about QMINE in a bit. But don't go doing that on the back of just what I've said without doing your research, okay? Because ultimately, you're going to be the one that presses that button. Like when I make a decision and I watch a good stream or whatever. Hopefully, this is a good stream. But anyway, so we've got Agarth. So Agarth is the kind of AI wing of QUBIC, and I'm hoping that at some point there is going to be an AGI platform on there. And we're not talking about AI, we're talking about a proper intelligence that, where you can build some scientific smart contracts that are actually going to change the world. Yeah. So, science, you got sports, nutrition, all of this stuff, you're going to be able to, make scientific decisions and discoveries on this platform. And it's going to change the world. So with that in mind, I've put a value of between 1 and 10 trillion on it. And that might sound absolutely crazy to you, because people are probably looking at this going, but how can QUBIC get higher than Bitcoin? Listen, if it did something that is like Steve Jobs on steroids, this is going to change the world. And people will say, oh, but there's not that much money in the world and stuff like that. Of course there is. I mean, look at Bitcoin at the moment. Well, look, if you look at the overview, yeah, and you look at crypto overview. Oh, it's not coming up now. Typical. Oh yeah, you can see at the moment it's 2.48 trillion. You've got all money that's going to be in stocks and stuff like that. You've got all money that's in other stuff, property, this, that, and gold and all that. There's going to be so much that's going to come over into something that is like the best technology, the best. Okay, so at least 1 trillion, but probably going to be higher, because if the crypto market cap total, once it develops and everything's online and all them banking, like XLM and XRP and Chainlink and all the rest of it, they're all online. Crypto is going to be 100 million, and I think there's a lot of commentators that are kind of experienced ex-Wall Street type people that are saying this is going to be big. There's going to be quadrillions that are going to be traded and coming on chain. This is going to be big. But an AGI platform is going to be something that we are going to be shocked at. Okay, we're going to be shocked at how the price is. It's just going to make us all really, really super rich. And that's the idea, isn't it? I've got a little picture actually that I'm going to share towards the end of this stream. And yeah, I think you're going to quite like it, but it's something that I dream of. Anyway, so Agarth, 1 to 10 trillion, maybe more, who knows? Compute power is worth, I don't know, 300 billion. I mean, I'm just making these figures up, but it's big, it's huge, and it's going to be worth more and more and more. Expert team, I've only CFB, I've only valued CFB at 100 billion, but teams are so, they're one of the things when I'm stuttering because I'm so excited, but they're one of the things that, when I'm looking at a project. I posted something earlier on X, not today, a day or two ago, and it was a picture of me holding on to the coattails of CFB. And that's basically what you do as an investor. You find a good project, you find a good founder that is tested. He's not just stumbled on this for the first time. Like I saw a project the other day. What were they called? Pearl. And they're not even launched. The price is shooting up. It's going to tank on a big scale, supported by all the Casper Maxis. And, this founder that we've got here is a real tested founder. Okay, so CFB, he's got a track record. Somebody just said that. Ali just said that, track record of maxing out ROI on each project. Exactly. But I think this one's going to be taking his idea, almost his dream, to the next level. And when I did a little interview with him, one of the things he did mention was, what's next after QUBIC and stuff. I think he just said something like he needs AGI, or he needs AGI to be developed. And that sort of stuck with me. And I thought, yeah, this guy's on a mission, and there is kind of quite pretty obvious proof that he is Satoshi, which like I've said before, I don't think it's such a big deal, to be honest with you. He developed a crypto project, the first one. Are you really surprised when you look at the technology that we've got here in QUBIC? It's not a surprise at all. And that's why I keep saying, like, you look at some of the figures that I put on the screen, and some people will be watching these going, that is an absolute joke. But I'm deadly serious. And, that's why I'm still here. And that's why I'm still trying to invest as much funds as I can. And if you check my wallet, you'll see that I don't sell at all. Not one, I was going to say not 1 cent, but 1 QUBIC, which is going to be worth more than dollars. So we've got the expert team. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. CK47 said, can you explain what's on the screen, how they're linked to QUBIC? Okay, so yeah, Agarth is the AI development on QUBIC. Okay, compute power, useful proof of work on QUBIC. Expert team, CFB, Joe Tom, all of his team. These are they've all got a worth to them. Oracles. So oracles are basically reading real world data. So any good smart contract can then be exposed to them, built on QUBIC. My Last Match, real world asset game, 10 billion. It could be loads more. Smart contracts, 500 billion, could be loads more, probably will be loads more. Feeless token. I mean, what price do you put on a feeless token? There isn't any. There isn't any. They're all charging XRP charges, Chainlink charges, XLM charges. QUBIC, token to token, doesn't charge. And I think that's special. You know, there are certain things that you think are so special. Harman has said this revenue is possible, but I think current core team have no clue how to get there. Well, I disagree. I disagree because they're still building. They're still putting the final touches into it. So I disagree strongly with that. Then what else have we got? We've got speed. I mean, a smart contract chain, a contract chain, right, that has a speed of 15 million transactions per second. Solana's got about 20,000 per second, right? Think about that. Solana, the big giant, 20,000 per second. I don't know how slow ETH is, but it's not 20. It's probably like a few hundred per second. And then you've got QUBIC, which is 15 million transfers per second. Think about that, you know, and think where you want to invest. What do you want to invest in? Do you want to invest in something that's like massively undervalued, that's got high potential, or do you want to invest in something that's just already hit its peak and is probably not going to be the next best technology? You know, the next best technology is this one here that's really cheap market cap. And then I've put here L1 blockchain, layer 0. Nobody else has got a layer 0 as far as I know. And this blockchain's got all these other things on it. So I'm going to say 800 billion. So I'm going to say low estimate, QUBIC, 1 trillion plus. And obviously it's not financial advice. So we go. More questions, you know, positive, negative, I don't really care. I'm sure I can bat anything away because QUBIC is really has really got it all. So this table here, actually, I think I stole this off somebody. So thanks very much. I can't remember your name, but thanks very much for lending it to me. So this is the QUBIC halving calendar with the QEarn impact and burn rate. So very, 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 very positive with this one because you know with the price at the moment as well. I think the halving, obviously, if it gets passed and agreed, is going to be in about July 26th, and not far away. So if I was you, I'd probably stack up now. You're talking, it goes from, as you can see here, can you see my mouse? No, you can't see my mouse. Okay. If you look at line 175, you'll see July 25, and then you'll see the net weekly emission, which is 410 billion. So can you see that? That's the second, the third box along and the second box down. You'll see 410 billion. And then you'll see the one below it, which is July 2026. That will be halved. Obviously, it makes sense. It's called a halving, yeah? So obviously it's halved. And then that will go down to 205 billion net weekly emissions, okay? And then they get distributed in different ways and they go to various places and all the rest of it. But the good news about those is, right, thanks for that, RM. RM has said halving is scheduled for 19th of August. Okay, so a little bit after July. So 19th of August, thanks for correcting me on that. So basically a month after. It's going to go down to approximately 205 billion, which means less emissions, which means obviously more chance of price rising, which is what we all want. And obviously that'll be actually good for the comps and the miners anyway. And then the total burn rate, the burn rate total to burn will be 79.5%. Okay. And also there'll be a reduction in the QEarn rewards pool. So I've got some QUBIC in the QEarns reward pool, not a problem. I'm more interested on the development of the project, but it's a I think it's a really positive step, and it will really take things to another level. So my next slide is just a little graph. Again, I stole this off somebody off one of our QUBIC colleagues, and I thought it was a really, really good graph. Okay, let me put my head inside that if I may. Hopefully you can still see that. So it starts at the bottom, and I don't think you can see my cursor, unfortunately, no. But basically, what we've got here is we've got a timeline. So we've got a timeline that I can. Some of the dates are a little bit kind of skew whiffed under there because it's kind of probably been developed by AI. Sometimes it does that. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to look at that. So we look to the left and we can see May 2026. So we've got here current and Neuraxon integration and early AGARTH training. So that's where we're at right now. So things are looking good. June 26, we've got bridge launches and network upgrades. Q4 26, we've got ant colony architecture and Neuraxon advancements. So that's all part of the AGI and the AI progression. And then we've got August 26, the halving and scaling AI compute. And then we move into Q1 27, major AGARTH upgrades and global adoption surge. That's the plan. And then Q2, AGI breakthrough via useful proof of work and intelligent tissue evolution, and aiming for a price of 0.01, which is 1 cent, market cap 1.38 trillion. So not far from kind of what my estimations are once things get started with that. I mean, it could happen before, because as things, we've seen with, for example, XLM, where something's announced. Once that something's announced, everybody's all in. You can see big money is flowing in now. I thought it was going to take a bit of a dive, but I think it's going to carry on now. And then summer of 2027, we've got full decentralized AGI achieved. And I think, it's funny, isn't it? Because we talk about, when I talk about AGI, we talk about it's almost like a throwaway, but it literally is it's going to revolutionize everything about how we live and what we do. It's going to be incredible, guys. It really is. It's like, I've mentioned it before on a stream, but I've got this book which is like 1,000 years of inventions, and and I look at that book and I think this AGI will literally dwarf the whole book in one go, and that is what we've got to kind of keep in mind. That is what we're doing here. That's why we're invested in this project. I mean, in fact, AGI is probably going to be so good that it's probably going to make even our investments not pointless. And I don't mean worthless, I mean pointless. Maybe we'll be able to move society to another level. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. I think in the short term, we'll probably be able to buy what the hell we want. But yeah, right, we've got some questions here. What have we got here? So, yes, so just to confirm, let's have a look. Let's have a look. What have we put? So Odessa said, Ali, I think QUBIC's max ROI was at launch when it peaked at 1 billion. Okay, that's interesting. RM has said, my point above regarding QUBIC supply evaporating is proven again with this table. Great visual, thank you. Well, it wasn't mine, so thanks to whoever supplied that to me. Should I just mine or buy QUBIC? Well, at the moment, I'm trying to fill my bags with QMINE, so we're going to talk about that shortly. I think mining is going to be a big thing. But I thought this was a really good comment that I saw from CFB. This was posted on the 1st of May, so only a few weeks ago. And he said, those who understand ANNs may think it's not a big deal, and they'll be wrong, because AGARTH is developing a paradigm capable of creation of AI solving any task. This means artificial general intelligence. Okay, so I think that's a really, from somebody that actually really knows his shit, and obviously we're here because of him. I think that's a really, I think you can't get a better. When I read that, I thought that's just got to be the best definition out. I tried to explain AGI, and I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. I just know it's going to be smart. Yeah, it's going to be like, you know, like if you've got an AI agent, you can literally, it will be like having your own personal Einstein, and it won't be like any of this. Like, I've got one on my desktop somewhere, a llama, and it ain't that bright. It's all right, but it's not that bright. It's done a few things that I've been like, wow, that was good, but it's not turned me into the lawnmower man. If anybody's seen that film, that would be great. Can you imagine a Revo that was actually really, really clever? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Next slide. Right, so now we're going to take some more deep dive again into QMINE, because I think it's really important. It is pretty central to what QUBIC is doing, which is basically mining, training AGOTH. It is super important. But on top of that, you know why I'm here, and I'm here to make money, guys. I'm not going to excuse it. I mean, I came here as an investor, but like I say, I enjoy the tech. I enjoy the, what I think is going to happen and the possibilities and all the rest of it. But God, wouldn't it be great to have a bit of financial freedom? Somebody's just said, so Airdrop has said, I have to say I respect CFB and his ability to put this out. Yeah, I know, because and I think I know why. I think he's testing it behind the scenes. I'm telling you. I'd love him to hit me up in the chat. I don't dare ask him, because he ain't going to tell me anyway, because obviously got to keep it secret. But I'd love him to just hit me up in the chat. I can hold things secret, CFB, if you want to tell me. But anyway, there's no point in telling me, because at the end of the day, if you're doing it for secrecy, no point telling me as a live streamer. But I think that this is just my intuition, is saying that I think he's testing it behind the scenes right now, right as we speak. It just seems like everything's fine, and if you're an investor and you see that kind of confidence, there's some people who are like, oh, this is a scam, or this or that, some bullshit, but obviously they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and those kind of people are going to end up poor, right. So QMINE, mining, my last match, and other holdings. We're going to take a deep dive into that. So why this passive income project could be an important part of your crypto portfolio. It certainly is becoming a part of mine, and the more I learn about it, the more I want. Because one thing that is important is trying to get a good position. So my last match, so I briefly touched on it. I don't want to go into too much detail, because if there are any newbies here, they'll be like, I'm just going to lose them, and I don't want to do that. And I've got a feeling even people within the QUBIC ecosystem don't really know the detail. I certainly don't. But anyway, my last match, I'm learning more and how it ties to QMINE. So what is it? What is my last match? So my last match is a real world asset survival game where players become winners in game and with real life financial rewards. Okay, so if you can imagine, like my lad, he plays Fortnite. Fortnite, and 400 million players. All right, so let's put that into context, and does it for fun. All right, then if you can imagine a game that is, potentially going to make you thousands. If you're good at it, you can make many thousands. I actually think some of these gamers are going to flock into it, and they're going to really try and be good. But obviously there's in-game items, and there's stuff that you can buy, the stuff that you can sell, the stuff that you can trade, the stuff that you can invest, and all the rest of it. So let's take just a bit of a rough deep dive. So how many players? So there's going to be, I think there's 50 to 55,000 max players allowed on it. Sounds a lot. Some people might go, that's not going to be possible. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the potential. And the potential is actually of some games that are out now. So investor potential, which is why I'm here. I'm not here for gaming. I'm here for the investor potential. Yeah. So holding smart contract shares, holding in My Last Match, holding tokens in projects that hold shares, and obviously in-game items as well. Okay. So there's going to be different avenues of revenue. And for players, and the great thing about it is, there's going to be players out there around the world who might not have much money, could potentially get their foot in the door and actually make some proper money out of this. So My Last Match, it's the first real world asset survival game. And if anybody wants more information, oh, look, my cursor's working now. If anybody wants any more information, it's mylastmatch.net. And let's look at some facts. So My Last Match currently in beta stage, which means it's just that they're testing and improving things. So there's some of the community are in there, kind of semi-playing, I think, and building, improving, finding glitches, all that kind of stuff. Obviously preparing for launch. I think it's a few months away till public launch. So if there are any investments, i.e. QMINE, that you want to try and get some exposure to it, then this is the place. And I'm going to show you also why. I'm going to show you also why, what the potentials are on sort of from an investment point of view. So there's a similar type of game that's out at the moment, and that's called Zomboid. Research it up. I did a bit of research on it, and it says that it gets about, gets approximately 25,000 players in a 24-hour period. And I believe from my investigations that My Last Match has a lot more attraction to players, and I've put the dollar signs in there. I just think it's going to pull so many people in. And if you think about it, I've got some in-game items that I purchased. I've got a safe house, I've got a speedboat, and I think I've got a dog, and I think I've got an axe. Okay, so I've got a few items that I'm going to be able to trade, either sell, or I'm going to rent out, or whatever in game. And I think when players start to realize, the potential, then it's going to be big. But I was going to say, actually, at the start, the great thing about this game, it's not going to kind of start from no players. When I was looking on the spreadsheet, because I've got some items that, this is what I was going to say. When I looked on the spreadsheet, it looked like there was already about, I don't know, 400 owners, something like that. It was a few hundred, 400 owners of items, like individual wallets. So I believe that there's probably going to be several hundred people ready to play as and when the game goes live. Okay, which believe me, it's a huge start to get things going. I also think that once it does get going, I think there's going to be a lot of players that are going to just give it a go to try and see if they can make something, make some funds out of it. And I think it's going to be a great speculation game. So My Last Match, I've mentioned this earlier, but my Last Match will launch inside QUBIC, obviously, on crypto reigns, and also in the center of the gaming community on Epic Games. Now, I looked it up today, and Epic Games has 972 million players. Okay, and it's the home of Fortnite. And there also, just another point, there's only 676 smart contract shares, and these are traded on QUBIC Trade QX. So yeah, really interesting there. And then I've put another slide here, which is basically showing I just want to emphasize the fact that Epic Games, you know, when you're kind of in association in a way with Epic Games, it might be an association, I'm not sure how it works, but on their platform, shall we say, we can look at Epic Games, and you know, gaming still is very, very big. You know, I know my lad plays a lot of gaming. I'm not really into gaming, so when you're not into gaming, I'm into investing, but not into gaming. But when you're not into gaming, you kind of it's not your world, but they are massive. Yeah, I can't emphasize this enough. And I mean, you know, even before QUBIC achieves AGI, which I anticipate that it will, and there'll be a platform for that, I think this could really catapult QUBIC and bring a lot of people in, and obviously transform the price. So looking at Epic Games, yeah, this is 25 to 26. Looking at the numbers, they had a revenue of 5.7 billion. Okay, which is it's a lot of money, right? The Epic ecosystem cross-platform is 972 million, which I've put on my slide here. Epic Games Store has made 1.16 billion, and that's PC spend. The record was 78 million. That was in December. Then we've got Fortnite, 650 million plus registered players. Epic Games Store, MAUM accounts, don't know what that means. Third-party revenue, 400 million. So that's obviously from advertising and stuff like that. You never know. They might even let advertising come on to My Last Match. Now, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah. Third-party revenue. What else have got? 317 million PC players. These are big numbers. These are like big countries almost, you know, massive. So, you know, let's just put it into perspective that we don't need millions. My Last Match is 50,000. Okay. Very, very possible that it's going to be well utilized. And if it's, you know, if a similar game, Zomboid, is 25,000 a day, without the incentives that My Last Match has got, then it could be another big thing, a really big thing. So let's look at the investment point kind of connection. So QMINE, which is a project that I've talked about and I'm going to talk about now, its main thing is mining. Okay, that's its main thing. We're going to also look at that as well when we look at the calculations. But let's look at it in relation to the My Last Match holdings. So it holds My Last Match, and it holds 79 smart contract shares. Okay. Now, 79 shares out of a total of 676. So quite a good percentage of the holdings in this game. So to put that into perspective, I've got how it's going to earn its money. So basically in the game, and I've done calculations for this as well. So you've got to try and get out of, if you're thinking, oh, gaming, I can't get into this. No, you don't need to get into it. You just need to understand it from an investor point of view. That's all. And which is what I'm doing. I'm probably going to maybe try and have a little play, but I'm not really into games. I'll be honest with you. I love sitting in the garden. But if it means trying to learn it so that my lad can get involved and start playing it, he'll be good at it. Yeah. And you never know, he might start streaming. That would be cool, wouldn't it? So let me just explain how the money aspect of it works. Hold on. So each time, I'll go to the questions in a minute. If you've got any more questions, send them through. So basically, each time a player dies in the game and they resurrect, so say, for example, if I'm playing in the game, I'm doing really well, but then somebody kills me in the game, to resurrect my character, I need to pay 1 million QUBIC tokens. Okay. Now, that 1 million QUBIC tokens goes to the My Last Match smart contract. 50% of that goes to smart contract holders. Okay, so 50% of that will go to the smart contract holders of the 676 shares. So that whatever it makes. So say for example it made 1 million. That million would be distributed by 676. And then obviously QMINE holds 79 out of the 676, and it would get a good dose of those earnings. Okay, I hope that's clear. I mean, it's really simple. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Right, so if we look at the second aspect of it, 90% of water in-game assets. Okay, now the calculations for this, I did this on a spreadsheet, and I've worked some stuff out, and it comes out as some real good investment here. So consider this: each 24 hours in our day is equal to 3 to 4 game days, approximately, maybe more than that. So each player will need 3 liters of water. Let me move my head out of the way. Each player will need 3 liters of water daily. So that's 3 liters of water. So in our 24-hour day, they would need 3 liters of water times 3 or 4. You get it? So they need a lot of water. You need water to survive in this game, right? If you're playing it, and I'm going to test it, and no doubt I'll get into it and waste loads of time online and stuff like that. But obviously, if I'm earning money, happy days. But I've got a feeling, because it's got an investment thing to it, I think the game theory is going to be crazy. And I've talked about game theory before. When game theory works, and I've seen it in another project, I don't know if anybody heard of Titan X. Yeah, some of you might have. Some of you might have even been in it. But when that game theory was on, guys, honestly, it was like crazy chaos. It was crazy chaos. It was great fun, and people were speculating, and it was just like it was almost like don't know, it was like the dopamine hit was just like relentless, and it went on for weeks, not weeks, it went on for months and months and months, and it was just such good fun. Whether that particular system makes people money in the end is another thing, but it was just great fun. But we were basically DeFi gaming, and people are building projects. Even I built a project on it, and it was just good fun, good vibes and stuff like that. Anyway, but let me get back to the point. What I'm trying to say to you is, when that energy hits in a gaming project, it's a bit like QUBIC in a way, but it's just like going to be like QUBIC on steroids, where it's like just really exciting, and it's like, you may be making money. There may be people that are just really good at gaming come in, and they're making money out of nothing, which is exciting for them, and I can't wait for that to happen, to be honest with you. What we've got some questions, comments and stuff like that. Yeah, somebody said, Ali said 79 shares, which is mad. Yeah, I know it is. I think that's a lot of shares. I think that's going to be a lot of shares, and I think that's going to generate a lot of money. Somebody said, oh, let's have a look. It's hard getting into Epic Games Store. They do more vetting than Stream Store, which is a good thing. Yeah, right. It's a bit like the QUBIC smart contracts. You can't just make any old crap on QUBIC. That's a great thing about smart contract system on QUBIC. My Last Match, the only game CFB being involved in. I've got a feeling he might have been involved in a game before, but you know what? I've got a feeling also that I read something that CFB was some kind of advisor or something like that to some gaming directors or something like that. Anyway, RM has said, yes, it's his baby. His first passion was large world computer games and got annoyed at the lack of tech to support realistic gameplay. Right, okay, well, that's a good sign. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? But My Last Match is far from realistic. Yeah, but you know what? Well, look at Fortnite. That's not realistic, is it? It's not. It's more than that. When for people like me, if I start playing, right, I'm not into games, but you know what? If I start playing and there's some real game theory behind it, it's not really about that. If I can get into it and start, say for example, my in-game items start, you know, 55,000 players, and people want to rent out my safe house or my speedboat or my dog. So I'm like, I might be putting like, you know, $50 on my dog. Yeah, hold my dog for a day, $50. You know, it's going to be real money that we're earning. And then you might have people that, doesn't matter if it's realistic or not, you're going to have people like kids from like Southeast Asia that are like earning their parents like, you know, maybe a few grand in dollars. You know, it's going to be so exciting. You know, it's not going to be discriminatory for anybody. Any good players will be able to join groups, earn money from doing tasks. Oh, it's going to be like a new economy, you know, where people do stuff. There's going to be some people that earn off the assets. I think it's bigger than people think. I have, because I've started to delve into it a bit, I've started to realize that actually this is going to be bigger than what people think. But obviously we'll see what happens. I mean, but I do think that, you know, having a kickstart of when it does launch proper is probably going to have about several hundred people playing immediately, which I probably will be one of them. Give it a go, see what it's about, try and teach my lad, etc., etc. RM has said, "Are you joking? The shadows, lightning, and right, he's making a comment on the reality of it. Are you joking? The shadows, lightning, and weather impacting players is the most advanced of any games. Weapons and equipment degrade in quality over time. The in-game economy is insane." There we go. So there's differences of opinion. Opinion's fine and critic is fine, but at the end of the day, you know, I think what we have to do is see what happens. But you know what? When it does launch, guys, engage, because the bigger it gets and the quicker it gets with our help and assistance, the better it is for our QUBIC bags. Okay. So Odessa said, brother, there are other games out there more that are better outright. Yeah, but as I've explained, I don't think they are. No, they're not going to be like games with tokenomics, and I've just explained how you can buy, you can sell, you can rent. You know, people can come into the system. They can actually join groups that are part of a gang. I think there's a wolf pack. There's all sorts of things that are already going on at Death. So I don't think you really understand it. Have a deeper dive, mate. Have a deeper dive. But if you do know a lot about gaming, maybe engage. You know, get engaged and get on the beta, download it, and see if you can, you know, advise. RM has said, let's see when the game launches, join the MLM Discord and top 3 bug funds, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's opportunities there. The top, what's he said here? Some good comments here, guys. Keep them up. The time multiplier is 5x, so 24 hours in real life is 5 days, is it? Okay. I learned something new. Some can be scavenged or got from food with high water density, but needs 14 liters per day. And this is what I'm going to show you. So think about that. Hold that, because I'm going to do some calculations shortly and show you how the water aspect of it is going to earn significant funds for my last match, which I am an investor. So just to recap, QMINE Holdings, which we're specifically going to be more talking about today, which is the My Last Match stuff. So they've got 79 My Last Match smart contract shares. Okay, 79 out of, hey, brilliant, guys. We've hit 1,000 live viewers. And you know what? Because people don't believe me when I tell them. Oh, damn, it just fluctuated. Hold on. I'm going to take a screenshot of that because I think that's pretty damn good. I mean, I do try and promote it as best as I can. There we go. And I appreciate you guys as well. So please feel free to share. Still share this one because I'm still halfway through. So I've still got a lot more that I'm going to share today. So QMINE Holdings, 79 smart MLM smart contract shares. Very, very important. Huge bag. Think about it. If there was a gaming project, right? If there was a gaming, like say for example, there was, I don't know, let's say Fortnite, for example, and you owned, what is it, 15% or something like that of that game. You know, that's significant. That really, really significant holding. So, you know, let's put that into perspective. QMINE hold 90% of My Last Match Water in-game assets. So get out of your head that this is a game. You know, this is an investment. Yeah, this is going to make you money if you're involved in it. Okay. And then also my QMINE has also got 400 plus real world asset mining rigs. So they are real life computers churning 24/7 and basically mining Bitcoin, Monero, and Doge currently, and can turn their hand basically to other protocols that are mining big funds, turn it back into QUBIC and pay QMINE holders. So it's great for the QUBIC ecosystem. So no, QMINE also has an investment fund that enables the project to expand operations for holders. Okay, so big stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah, this was something that I've also put on the other document that I've got on this. But so we've got here, these are the other assets that QMINE hold. So some of them are tokens and some of them are smart contract shares. So in total, the total portfolio value is 475 billion. 475 billion. Is that right? Yeah, 475 billion QUBIC. Which, I mean, you know, if you start to think about as the project, as the, you know, the price in QUBIC gets higher, think about what that's going to be. I mean, that's a significant amount. What is it at the moment? At the moment, it's $242,000, but that's $242,000 at QUBIC low price. I mean, think about that. You know, even if it does like a 10x, it's going to be a massive amount, significant. Hold on a minute. I've got somebody that wants to link up the stream, so let me see if I can try and get them on. So bear with me, guys. Thanks very much, and also thanks for coming. I'm really appreciative. Hold on a minute. Let me just have a look, because this could be quite important, because this guy's got a huge follower list that he wants to link up. Let me just check that out. While I'm looking this up, I'm going to try and have a look at some of the questions. So let's have a look. Ali said, I'm not a big gamer, but if we can generate hold on a minute. If we can generate, hold on a minute. Let me just copy that link. There we go, my friend. Yeah, you don't have to grant camera access, so you don't have to grant it. Okay, but you can always put your finger over. You can always put a bit of tape over your camera. So just do that, no problem. So I'm talking to somebody that sent me a message. He's probably listening. Yeah, so Ali said, I'm not a big gamer, but if we can generate from it, maybe I'll look into it. Yeah, well, we will be able to. This is all an investment. You know, I see investment first, gaming second. If it was just a game, I'm not really going to be over worried about it. RM has said, do your own. Let's have a look. Hold on. Let's have a look. What's it say here? Hold on. Let me just text somebody. Okay, we can work that out at some other point if you can't do it. So what somebody said, oh yeah, do your own research on QMINE and Wolfpack, and you don't need to be a player to earn massive passive income. Yeah, this is it exactly. So you don't need to get involved in the gaming, but it's just important to know about the gaming, because I think the gaming is it's just as far as I see it, is an investment, but also it could be good. And I think the game theory is going to be important to get gamers in. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said tape over your camera so the FBI doesn't spy on you. Yeah, well, the thing is, on my camera here, obviously, if I did that, you're not going to be able to see me. The FBI know all about me, I'm sure, anyway, and I think they know already. I'm pretty harmless. Maybe I'll be a bit more dangerous when I've got AGI. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is a lot of these smart contracts are going to generate on here. So you've got QX, you can see that they've got 10, quantity of 10. They've got Voten, they've got 12, you know, and there's MS Vol, which some of these are going to be good. Obviously, My Last Match, I think that's going to be the big hitter. It's already quite expensive if you wanted to try and grab a smart contract. Let's move on to the next slide. So, okay, yeah, calculations. I like to do the calculations, and I hope I don't lose any of you on this, because I just think that the calculations is what we are actually here for. You know, we're here to make money, and I think showing you the calculations, I think, is important, because it is kind of how I get to where I get to. And I just want to say a little caveat is these are definitely not financial advice. Okay, they just give me a little forerun of what could happen if certain things happen. Okay, and I like to see what my small amount, because I'm a small investor, what it could be worth if things go to plan as I think it could. Okay, so I am gonna show you what I think. And actually, I think these are quite reasonable. There's a little bit of moon math that goes in. Let me just share my screen. Hold on a sec. Let me just take that away. Present. I got to stop the screen. So you're going to have to share the screen and Windows. I think, is this the one? I think this is the one. Yeah, that's the one. Right. Okay. So I'm going to have to, it's on my screen, it's really quite small, but there's not a lot I can do about that, but I'm going to talk you through it anyway. So if there are people that are kind of listening in on the move or something like that, I'm going to kind of I'm going to pretend I'm a radio host or something like that. Okay. Now I am looking this way because my huge screen is over here. So I'm going to look this way. So to try and describe it. What I might try and do is I might try and put, actually, if I put my, you can see that, you can see the browser moving. Okay, so I'm going to take you through it. So, where do I start on this? So there's two, as you know, there's two aspects. Well, there's quite a few aspects to QMINE. Okay, so what I'm going to look at is these are my price estimations, my own deductions, and I've put here guesses. And always do your own research, because what I don't want is somebody to be like not doing their research and making their own decision and be like, oh, you know, a year later they'll be going, oh, Revo, you said that I was going to make this and this and this, and if it doesn't happen, it's crypto, anything can happen. However, these are my expectations if things go well. Okay, so obviously if things go well, fine. If they don't, that might be a different story. So what we've got here at the top, I'll go over to this one. So we've got here current price. We've got, we're going to forget that. We're going to say if there are 1,000 players, if there were 1,000 players, and then we jump to this. Actually, did I do that one? I didn't do that one. No, I did. I did 5,000 players. So we're going to expect that it's going to get to a reasonable level, which is, 5,000 players would be pretty good. But I think this is going to get loads more. So this is in a 24-hour period. Okay, 5,000 players. Then I've done 10,000 players. What it's going to be like if we get 20,000 players, if we get 30,000 players, 40,000 players, and 50,000 players maximum. Okay, and I'm expecting, and you can see there's a column here above this which says Zomboid hit these figures. So Zomboid hit 20, 30, whatever, 40,000 players, I think 30,000 max, something like that. And as far as I can see, QUBIC is going to be a much more appealing game to a lot of people, and including people that maybe aren't gamers but are investors. So let's start at 5,000. So we've got here, I've done the price at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So I've done the price at 6 zeros and an 8, because I think if 5,000 players came in, I think the price would pump significantly. And this is probably an underestimation. Now, if you look over on the left-hand side of the tail, you can see table rather. Did I say tail? You can see QMINE resurrection fees, 100 million QUBIC, 50% goes to smart contract holders. Okay, so this is the resurrection fees. I think there's going to be 500. I think there's going to be quite a lot. I think people will take chances. Yeah, RM has said something that I actually believe as well. You know, when I'm looking at my numbers and I'm looking at my percentage chance of doing well in an investment, I can see this too. And this is what I think. QUBIC has a community of over 156,000 members. 5,000 gamers is absolutely achievable as a start from just within the community. I think so as well. I think so. So we've got here resurrection fees. So if there's 5,000 players in a 24-hour period, I think there will be 500 resurrections. I think there's going to be a lot of people taking a lot of chances, having a bit of fun, especially to start with. And then I've kind of worked it through. So like when there's 10,000 players, there'll be 1,000, just guesses, guys, 1,000 resurrections. And then when there's 20,000 players, I've done 2,000. When there's 30,000, 3,000, could be lower, could be higher, but I just wanted to give us a starting point just to make some calculations. And when there's 50,000 players, obviously there's going to be a lot of players on this game. So I think there's going to be a lot of resurrections, because, you know, I've watched things like Fortnite before and they're always killing each other and resurrecting and all the rest of it. So I think it could be a lot. I think there's going to be some really good players that escape it, obviously, but they're going to be the ones that own assets. They're going to be the ones that, rent out safe houses and buy loads of water and all this kind of stuff. You know, these are going to be more the more pro gamers, and also the people that are in it to, you know, make money out of it. There's going to be a lot of very, very, very clever gamers in. Anyway, what have I got here? So I have got. Let's go down the table. Let's go down the table here. So I've got here. So at 500, QMINE, and this is a low estimate because we've already discussed that. Actually, my estimation. Oh, actually, I did put 5 days. So I put a calculation behind it, and that calculation is, so it's 5,000 times 3 times 25,000, which is what people will have to buy the water for. And the water will be paid mainly to QMINE, because QMINE owns a lot of the water. Okay. Right, hold on a second. Has somebody else just arrived in the green room? Maybe not. Hold on. No, we have got one linked up. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I really do. Because we're just trying to get things going here, get things moving and get the exposure. Right. So we've got here what's this? And so this is QMINE. Now QMINE obviously is 3. So that's 3. Is that 375? That's 375 million. Okay. And then I've turned it into, no, what is that? That's not 375 million, is it? That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that right? 25. So I'm just trying to work out my calculations. Okay, right. So The calculation that I've got here is this figure here, which is 375 times the price divided by 676 times 79, which is what QMINE earns in shares, right? Okay. So then I've gone down the list and I've done the calculations. Now this one's quite important because I've done this is the line that I want to go to. So I've done per years based on I've only just to let you know, I'm doing all the calculations based on my small holding. Okay. So there's going to be some of you guys that's got way much more that you can invest. I unfortunately at this current time haven't got much more that I can invest. So I've got a bag of 500,000 token holdings. Okay. So it's quite a smallish bag. Compared to a lot of them in the top holders. I think a lot of the holders have got like, way over 1 million. And I will be heading there. I'll find a way. Don't worry about that. So on that, if there's 500 players, this is just on water, right? By the way, this is just on, this is just on the resurrection fees. Okay. So all these things are going to add up. So it doesn't, at the current time, it probably might not look like a lot, but obviously it's going to add up, and I'm going to show you the calculations as we start moving on with the game and with this QUBIC project. Okay, so don't let any of these figures sway you in any way. So per year, based on 500 resurrections, I would be getting $7, which is, it doesn't sound a lot. It'll be paid in QUBIC tokens. And what you have to remember as well with QUBIC tokens is the price. When the price starts going up dramatically and I'm earning all these fees coming in, it's like a compounding. It's going to be growing my bag, but then obviously when the price expands, that is going to be worth significantly more than what it does at the time of retrieval. So, and this is what you have to think about: passive income, compounding. These are the two big topics that some of the big investors talk about. And, you do it over a considerable amount of time, and then suddenly your bag gets considerably bigger, especially as the investment grows. As long as you don't sell, do not sell. Okay. And then we look where there's like 1,000, then the amount goes up to 18 a year. Then we look at 2,000 resurrections. Then we look at $8,000. Then we look at 3,000 resurrections. And I don't know what's going on here, but the figures has just exploded. Hold on, have I got that in the right column? Yeah. Yes, it has. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to explain why. So what's happening here is, oh no, I'm on the wrong line. Sorry, I was on the wrong line. This is per dollars for my holding. Okay, so when there are 2,000, that will be $284 for myself. But also you've got to remember, you've got to take into account the price is going to go up as well. So obviously I'm chopping some noughts off here. It's kind of artistic license when you're doing stuff like this. And I've done the same for that, where there's 3,000 and there's 30,000 players. Obviously, that's going to expose the QUBIC project to a lot of people. People are going to be buying a lot of QUBIC, okay? And the price will be going up and up and up. So that will give me 4,000 a year. Then, next along, we've got 4,000 resurrections, 408. That will give me 5,600 a year. Okay, so now we're talking about proper money. And then when the thing is really purring, you could be talking 5,000 resurrections, and then you're talking, there's more calculations coming. We're going to do more on these calculations anyway. I need to refine them, but I'm just kind of trying to give people an overview. And then you're looking at 50,000 players. If there's 5,000 resurrections, you're talking 71,000. Okay, you're talking 71,000. I'm just having a look at my figures here. Hold on, that's a considerable amount of money, RM. So you're talking, yeah, that's right. So basically what I've done is I've worked that out as a daily, so 365. So I'm just trying to work it out. So I did these at quite a pace yesterday and today. So if you've got 50,000 players and there's 5,000 resurrections a day, that would pay me with my small amount. And this is what I'm trying to get over. You don't need a massive amount. You don't need to be putting like 20, 30,000. If you've got it, fine. But you can still win dramatically on a project like this with just getting in early, which is what we are now. Before My Last Match is properly launched, that's the time to get in. Once it's launched and there's like 10,000 players, trust me, the price is going to shoot. You ain't going to be able to get in. QMINE price is going to go through the roof. Everything's going to go through the roof that's connected to it. Okay, investors are smart. I am probably with the smartest people because we're early. We're kind of like investors, but we're also like, what's the word, speculators as well, investor speculation, because we're getting in now. We're kind of like almost like seed funding in a way, kind of thing, because we're getting in super early, and that's where we are now. So if you're going to get yourself bags, try and load your bags up now. If you're a big whale and you've got like millions, then you can wait some time. But if you're a small investor like me, you've got to get in now to reap the big rewards. Okay, so that would be a nice amount based on a small amount of tokens. That would be like 71 grand. And then, you know, obviously the QUBIC price is going to start shooting up even more. So you're 71 grand in QUBIC, you just let it sit there and it's maybe going to double, triple, even more. So it's just going to grow. Yeah, and there's going to be other ways by that time as well of using your QUBIC. You might want to put it back into QMINE. You might want to put it back into something else. But at the end of the day, you're going to have real money that you can swap in and out of things. Yeah. The only thing that I would say is just be careful. In different countries, you're going to have to be careful of the fees that you might need to pay on tax. But that's going to be a good problem to have, right? Then we're going to look at this section down here. So that's 71,000. This is from the resurrection fees. Yeah. Do you understand that? Hopefully you do. Then I've got here. Let me have a look. Then I've got here. This is all about the. Oh no, that was water, and this one here is going to be the resurrection fees. So hold on, let me see what I've done here. So that one is that one. 129 is that one. That one is that. Hold on, I'm just going through my calculations. I've done so many. That is that. What's this one here? Resurrection fees totaling dollars. And that, so hold on. Have I mixed and matched? Because there was one with water and there was one with resurrection fees. And I think this one is, let me just have a look at the calculations. That's resurrection fees. What's this one? This is resurrection fees. Let's have a look. Sorry. 20. Okay. Per year in dollar. But well, one of them anyway. What I'm gonna try and get to here is one of these is for resurrection fees and one of these is for water. So whichever way around I've got, I've got to kind of go back into my formulas. But basically, for the both of them, if both of them do exceptionally well, you're talking about over 100 grand a year. Okay, so you're talking about that plus that is way over 100 grand a year, which is pretty significant amount of funds for a year just from those two, and that's only from 500,000 QMINE tokens. All right, and now it's at quite a low rate, so you could easily get on board there. Okay, now the second thing that we've got is we've got the calculation, and there's quite a few strands to this QMINE that I don't think people quite realize. So I was just talking there about My Last Match. So this above was My Last Match. So this was the water, and this was the resurrection fees, or vice versa. And that's like 100 grand on its own, just for holding 500,000 tokens. Obviously, when things develop and when the ecosystem takes off, which is what we expect it to do, hopefully. But now this is obviously the mining operation. So this tab here that you can see below is all about mining. Currently, the QUBIC per QMINE held is approximately 1.5, approximately. So if you're holding 500,000 like I am, each week I get paid 750,000 QUBIC tokens, okay, which not worth a massive amount at the moment, obviously low price and all the rest of it. However, when that price rises, we will see that that's going to change significantly. Now, there is a lot of conversation that there is expectation, so it's not a guarantee, but there is an expectation that that return is going to double. So it's going to go from 500, from 1.5 to 3. So that will be 3 QUBIC per every QMINE that you hold. Okay, so if you hold 500 QUBIC, that will give you a weekly payout of 150,000. Sorry, have I got that right? No, that will give you a payout of 1.5 million QUBIC per week. So if we look at the price on that, and I've done, obviously, when I think when QUBIC, when that gets to number 3, I think that the QUBIC price is going to be significantly higher. Okay, so I've done here 0.123, is that 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4.047. Okay, that'll be a significant rise. For my 500 tokens, would give me 3,666 per year. Okay, so a nice amount based on a small amount of tokens. And obviously, if that same price was 3047, you're talking that's going to give me a return of 36,000 per year. So it's, I mean, I don't know what the economy will be like in that state, but it's almost enough to kind of do crypto full time, isn't it? I mean, it's not quite, you're not going to live a massively luxurious life, but it's enough to survive, that's for sure. Yeah. And then I've put here also, remember, any tokens that have been sent in fees to you will also rise by the token amount as well. So you've got to keep that in mind. Yeah, the token amount is going to rise. So you get your bag, you build your bag, and I don't know, what analogy can we give? I don't know. I suppose it's like gold. Okay, my gold chain that I bought in Thailand, 15 years ago or something, is now, you know, I bought it for a few $100s, and now it's worth $2,000. Don't come and rob me. You know, and it's probably going to go up. And I've not done anything. I've just kept it. I've just held it. Whereas this is going to do the same kind of thing. You just hold it, hold your QUBIC tokens, and then just gather them, build them, and then suddenly it's just going to rise. The whole thing will rise, and you'll just be sitting on it. And then maybe at that point in time, if you do have a load of QUBIC, you can either put it back into one of the projects, or you can just maybe stake it. There's going to be other protocols that are going to be built for sure. Yeah. I've showed you this one already, and I just want to let you know that the above calculations, these have not been added into the calculations. Okay, apart from the my last match, they've not been added into the calculations. So when some of these smart contracts start to run, they're going to generate a lot of fees. Okay, so bear that in mind. Have we got any questions? Let's have a look. What have we got? Somebody likes calculations. Gives us more insight into what the future holds for QMINE and its holders. Yeah, I mean, it's significant. I worked it out. I told somebody the other day, you know, I've not been looking into the project stupidly. So I've only been doing that for like literally a couple of weeks now. And as soon as I looked into it, it took me 10 minutes to realize. And, you know, there's a person out there that knows it took me 10 minutes to realize. Yeah. Because yeah, anyway, so what's that? So QUBIC has a community of over 156,000 members. Yeah, 5,000 gamers is achievable. My last match can be very lucrative in the future. Great for QMINE holders as they hold 79 shares. Each player, yeah, we've done that. I think we did that, didn't we? Yeah, 5 liters, about the water and all the rest of it and how much water. But basically, I think they're going to charge 25,000 QUBIC for times 3 for liters 5 times a day. So that's going to be significant. You know, it's going to be a lot of funds that are just churning your investment all the time. And I'm not going to sit at 500,000. You know, I want to get my aim for QMINE for a small holder. I want to obviously hit that 1 million as soon as I can. Then I want to try and get, if I can get to 2 million, that's my kind of target. And then if I can get higher, great. But my target is that. But you've got to try and do it before these things take off. I was a bit worried actually, because when I first started streaming, I was like, shit, the price is shooting. And it might well do that after this, I don't know. But I think there's a bit of a wall where there's some sellers that are kind of keeping it right for me. So they're kind of helping me delay the inevitable where it starts to breach those numbers and take it. So I can't, not that I can't afford it, but it's going to be a lot more expensive. Yeah, I know. Ali said it was 250 Qs at pre-sale. Yeah, I missed that one, didn't I? Okay, so let's hit the next slide. Thanks for the question, guys. Let's go back to my slides. Share screen. Let's have a look. Ooh, where do I go here? Window. That's what I need. So that it does get a bit complicated, even when I'm trying to put those calculations together. And as you can see, I've got more work to do. Well done. Ali's got 10 million at 280. Legend. That's really good. But yeah, I'm going to try and head there, but it's going to cost me a lot more, Ali. But yeah, I just want to reiterate though that, you know, delve into this as much as you can. It is quite interesting actually that Ali's just said that, because I'm gonna tell Ali. Let me just get my head out of the way. Oh no, my head's in the way now. I wanna show this screen because I think this was really good. I made this, guys, with the help of AI, but I managed to. Somebody gave me a bit of advice, and then I managed to like punch in the right details. Anyway, I made this on an AI platform. When I say AI, LLM, we know what real AI is. So this is like one of those old Sea Life tier. What's it called? It's called a Sea Life holder tiers. Sea Life holder tiers. Does that make sense? I don't know. But anyway, it's what when I first got into crypto, they used to do these all the time. And I was always, because I'm a small investor, I always used to be like in as many projects as I could. If I like them, I'll be like, right, yeah, where can I get to on, where can I get to on to be a dolphin or a shark or something like that? and it's funny actually, because I'm actually a shark already in this one, in QMINE, which I didn't think I was. But I would love to be a mega whale. I would love to be a whale. That's my next step, is to be a whale in this. But it just shows you don't actually need that much dollars to actually get to one of these levels in QMINE, which is quite nice. And I think, yeah, I think I've got one. I've got one, Ali, for QUBIC as well. I have actually got one. Yeah. So the mega whale is 5 million QMINE. I think that's actually achievable. What is it, Ali? Are you any good at calculations? How much would 5 million QMINE cost me now? How much? I haven't got any money, by the way. That's why my when you see my donation wallet, you click on that, take a picture of it, and send me money, because any QUBIC that I get from now on in, I am trying to build up my QMINE bag. So I know there's some big whales out here watching. I know there is. Did you work it out, Ali? 5 million QMINE. Oh, I'm gonna have to work it out, aren't I? This is gonna put me under pressure. Hey, he's done it. He's done it. Okay, so he said, Ali has said 22.5. Oh no, now what's that? Let's work that out. 22.5. Let's work that out. Damn. 22. Oh, one more. 22.5 times 0. So 10 grand, you can be 10K. Oh my, I tell you now, if I had like 100K to invest, I would definitely put 10K in this. Definitely. No doubt about it. Because it's not only key infrastructure that they're doing in this project, and the team seem to know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, I need to sell a lot of pizzas. I could probably sell, how many pizzas could I sell a day? Ali's asked. I could probably sell, if I was doing it as a business, I could sell 60. No problem. I could do 60 pizzas. Easy. I've been making pizzas now for years and years. I think I should sell it. I should start it as a business. But anyway, listen. Yeah, for 10 grand, you could be a mega whale in QMINE. And remember, there is only 900. What is there now? What's the supply? 900, just under 900 million. Is that right? 900 million supply. I know it's a bit less than that now because I think they burnt about 1 million or something like that. So 890, should we say 899 million. The supply is not massive. So getting yourself 5 million, and this is my intention. I think getting yourself 5 million QMINE is, I think it's a really good investment. And also you've got to remember it's almost like holding QUBIC, because at any point, if you don't want to hold that QMINE anymore, you can just swap it back. But it's doing something for you. It's growing your bag. And think about it. If you're holding 5 million QMINE, so if you're holding 5 million QMINE, let's look at this. Times that by, let's say 1.5, because that's what it is at the moment. You're going to be earning 7.5 million per week. That's what Ali's earning, 7.5 million. And when he's grown that bag of QUBIC, and that's starting to, the QUBIC price is starting to take off, guys, it's just going to create so much. Your bag's going to be massive. So this is my intention. So at the moment, I'm a shark with 500. My next job, somehow, I'm going to figure it out, is to try and see if I can wangle myself some more QMINE tokens and get myself to 1 million. I want to be in that million club. I think that's good. I think there's only 900 holders. That's how early we are. Think about that. I think if I could be in the top 100, I think any of the top 100 is going to just do amazing. I mean, even looking at my figures now, some of the figures are incredible. So yeah, take that on board. I'll try and share this later. Actually, it's quite a nice thing to share, so people can have an idea of where they need to try and aim for. And obviously, if you're a small holder, I still think you're going to do well. I'll tell you another thing as well. From what Ali said, when it was pre-launch, it was what, 280 per 280 QUBIC. What was it? 280? Did he say 280 QUBIC per QMINE? Now it's what 4,000, 5,000, something like that. But it's going to be way, way, way higher. It's going to be, I don't know how many thousand. It's going to be like 100,000, maybe 1 million. It's going to be high. It's like other protocols that I hold. They're not going to just sit at these low prices forever. You know, once the smart contracts turn over, once the mining starts to be even more profitable, it's going to be massive, guys. Once people see that my 500, this is where people don't quite understand sometimes the price. when my 500,000 QMINE start to generate me a decent fee, that, you know, suddenly the big players start flocking in, you know, because it's like passive income, free money. Right, let's flick. So this here is the kind of house that I want, and I've put here, you know, a little sentence at the top. So, you know, obviously, look, we've had hundreds of people here today watching. I got up to like 1,000, I think it was. I think I might have lost some people on the calculations, so that's to note. But I think a lot of people have stayed that are just probably thinking to themselves, you know, this is a good project to get into. You know, not just the QUBIC project, but QMINE and My Last Match. These are going to be good things that are going to generate us some funds. But just generally, I think, you know, if we do work hard, and I've joked here, you'll help me achieve my target below. But that's that sort of thing. I think that house there, that property there, is worth 20 mil, and I don't think it's impossible now. I really don't think it's impossible now. But I think we can definitely help ourselves by combining and, you know, really pushing this thing forward. I think because I think I can easily stream every single week, and this project, not just QUBIC but QMINE and some of the other good projects within it, so easy to sell, you know. And there's thousands of us. There is thousands of people, and if we all share and we all click like and ask questions and show a lot of activity as well. I mean, to be very honest with you, whenever I do a stream on QUBIC, there's always loads of people just come in the chat anyway, even if it's unannounced. But I want to try and generate some more, you know, the new investors, because they kind of, you know, when I first started investing, I love streams that were just like normal people talking, you know, no bullshit, no like, you know, people saying, oh, I've made, you know, the ones that say that they've made a shitload of money. Well, not being funny, when I've made a shitload of money, I ain't going to be on a stream. Okay, but I'm going to be on holiday. I'm going to be in my stately home. I'm going to be chilling out. I'm not going to be on stream talking to you. And that's not to be selfish or anything like that, but I'm here for a reason. You know, I'm here to try and, you know, help this project onto its next level. And I think if we all kind of combine and try and do our bit and try and push this, I think we're really going to take this to another level. I made a little joke here. Yeah, and that's a true story as well. I do love nice houses, and my ancestors, I won't tell you where, but in UK, they owned a stately home. My ancestors fought for, this probably won't give too much away, but fought for William the Conqueror. So 1066, I don't know if anybody knows any history, but in 1066, the people that helped William the Conqueror, they were mostly French people, so I must have some French in me. Basically, what happened was William the Conqueror gave these people a reward. So he basically gave them an area in England, and my ancestors fought for William the Conqueror and obviously won the battle. And then he got awarded a massive area of land, stately home, and all the rest of it, where he was lord of the manor. And my ancestors owned that for, I think it was centuries. And it was only in recent kind of history, maybe 1700s, 1800s, something like that, that unfortunately they no longer own the property. But you know what? Maybe I'm a bit delusional, but when I walk in stately homes, you know, with the National Trust and stuff like that, I always like feel at home. You know, I really feel at home in one of those places. But that's the kind of thing that's the kind of thing on the screen that I'm kind of aiming for. I'm not really materialistic, but I really like the idea of that. And you know what? You know, some of you guys will be very, very welcome. And put here, even you, Vibra. So yeah. So, you know, it's all good fun, but we've got a job to do, you know, and we can really push this because it is a very, very good project, you know. I'm getting towards the end of my stream here. And obviously, you know, we've got, I'm going to continue doing these streams. I've got another couple of weeks that I'm going to be doing. So I've got so much to talk about with this QMINE project. The more I delve into it, the more I'm figuring stuff out, and I'm working stuff out. And, you know, with my investor hat on, this blue hat, I've seen Joe Tom wearing one of these blue hats. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if he was taking the piss or not, but I thought it was quite funny. But his looked a little bit more stylish than mine. I'm going to call it my lucky hat. Maybe we need to get some of these with like QUBIC logos on, you know. Although saying that, when we're very, very wealthy, I probably am not going to advertise that I'm a QMINE holder or QUBIC holder. I'll be very honest with you. I'm probably going to do a CFB and just go anonymous. You know, and you won't recognize me because I won't be wearing a hat, will I? But just to let you know, next Q stream is going to be next week. It's going to be on a Thursday next week, so not a Friday. It's going to be on Thursday, 4th of June, because I've got something that I can't get out of on the Friday, and it's going to be same time. So I'm going to run it at the same time. Let's see. It might be a good day for people, to be honest with you, a Thursday. The key audience that I'm really after a lot of is the Americans. You know, the American market is, who's that? The American market is huge, as we know. So if I can, I'd like to basically run it a bit later, but I'm going to keep it at this time as well because I don't want to do it too late for myself. But anyway, on the agenda, I'm going to give you an update, which is going to be really interesting, on my own personal QMINE rewards. I just want to show you the reality of it. I know I've only got a small bag, but I think I'm going to do some screenshots of my wallet and stuff like that. I'm going to do some more calculations. I'm going to hone them in a little bit, maybe simplify them a little bit, and just to give people an idea. They look quite complicated today on screen, I think. How many is needed to secure a strong position for medium term into the long term as well, and then also any other developments really. But also on every stream, I'm obviously going to go over the QUBIC stuff, because there's always new investors, and we need to always appreciate that. You know, that when we're doing any of these streams, we've always got to target it to potential new investors. And I'm getting hit up by people. I'm getting hit up by people in the DMs talking about QMINE, talking about, do they really have potential? Talking about, oh, am I going to be earning enough out of them and stuff like this? And I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, this is the way that I see QMINE, is the QUBIC fee, the QUBIC price is going to shoot up. You know, there's no doubt about that. So we just need to think, you've got to think longer term. I mean, I know most of us are, but once we think longer term, better. Do you know what I mean? It's going to really take off. But I do think in the short term, QUBIC is already a $1 billion project. And that's what we need to try and aim for in the short term. You know, all we need is like another, I don't know, 10,000 investors, and they are there. The investors are there. They're waiting to hear this information, and we just need to get it out to them on a regular basis. You know, just keep churning it out and getting people that like talking about the project to just keep talking about the project, because people buy from people. What else? Here's my QUBIC wallet. Let me take my face out the way. Here is my QUBIC wallet, and you know what to do. So guys, on that note, I don't think there's another slide, is there? No, there's not. There's not another slide. So I'm just putting this into here, and then here, reading view. So I just want to thank you all for coming, and appreciate all the questions in the chat. I do appreciate, you know, there's going to be a lot of you that have been watching it on the X channel. So obviously I'll probably see questions afterwards and stuff like that, comments and what have you. These streams, the last stream that I did, I mean, this was brilliant because this one got 1,000 live viewers, which is great. The previous stream got several hundred, but when I shared it afterwards, it achieved way over 1,000 viewers. So that's good. We just want to get people watching. It doesn't matter if they're watching a recording or what. But yeah, it's been great. I feel as if the community is tightening up. We're getting focused. I think the devs are really doing their bit. They're really pushing things forward. And I think we just need to carry on and just keep pushing. And if anybody's got any ideas, questions, or anything like that, please feel free, hit me up in the DM on X. And also, somebody asked earlier, and I've had a few people ask, what is my Discord? My Discord is Revo, REVO 1188. Okay, so if you do have any questions, hit me up in that and I'll answer them. Guys, thanks so much for coming, and I will see you next Thursday. And obviously see you in the Discord and on the chat and all the rest of it. Take care. See you soon.